I think one of the most harrowing experiences I had with my wife was right around in 2015 when my mother was dying back in New York, and we had flown there from California. And I've told this story before, but my wife ended up cleaning out my dad's entire liquor cabinet when we were all at the hospital during my mother's last month. We were spending time there, and I came home early one time and found her passed out in my dad's living room. And I had to clean that up, and it was really very embarrassing. And I realized then that my wife was in a situation where I kind of needed to get her out of the house. So I had promised my son a trip to Gettysburg, which is a little bit south. It's about probably 6 hours south from Syracuse, from where we were. We drove there, and then we continued on to Washington, D.C. the following day. And for whatever reason, my wife continued to drink, and we really tried to stop her, but it continued. And the real difficult problem happened when we checked into a hotel in downtown Washington, D.C. So after we checked in, my son and I were getting very tired of it because my wife had a bladder problem. She had, it really urinated. I mean, I don't mean to get graphic, but she urinated all over herself. She was always covered in urine because she was drinking all the time and really couldn't control it. And we had to smell that all the way down. It's really it's a horrible thing, really, to be around it. So we had a really deep conversation when we first checked in, and my wife promised that she would, kind of slow down and not drink as much, and she made all these promises, and my son and I were just like, oh God, and we went around and around and around, and it was really the three of us having a very deep discussion because we were really sick of it. And my mother was dying, and I had to worry about that, and then I had to worry about my wife. So we went to dinner that night, and of course, at the hotel restaurant at the bottom of the at the hotel, and unfortunately, my wife immediately ordered a couple glasses of wine. I think she had 3 or 4 in front of my wife, my son and I, and we were beside ourselves. We finished our dinner, and we actually left her sitting there by herself. I just couldn't be around it anymore, and we went back up into the room. And I don't know. I think she put her head down on the table and really just. I think she fell asleep at the table, but we weren't going to sit around. So unfortunately, about an hour later, she ended up walking into the room. She was actually stumbling around. She had probably ordered more. I'm not really. I think she was just charging it to the room, and I forgot that you could do that when you're in the hotel restaurant. Otherwise, I wouldn't have left her. And unfortunately, my son and I were we were really beside ourselves. We just, and she could tell we were really angry with her. We wouldn't even talk to her. So she went into the bathroom, and she was stumbling around. And unfortunately, she fell down right on top of the toilet and actually broke the toilet, the whole back of it, the water tank, and that crushed the whole top of it. She just slammed on it. And what happened was it began to flood out the whole floor. Water was gushing out quickly down the hallway, and I was just like going crazy. I called the front office, and I ended up turning the water off. I was able to turn the water off, but by then there was water all over, into the bathroom and soaking the carpet, and it was starting to seep out the front of the hotel room, which was just crazy. So after calling the front desk and I told them the water was turned off, they said they would get somebody up there in the morning to check it out. But I said, can we get another room? Because, this room was kind of destroyed, unfortunately. There was water all over the place, and you really couldn't even use the bathroom anymore. So they agreed to that. They gave us another room, and my wife, unfortunately, was completely inebriated at this point. It took everything that my son and I could do to get her into one of the beds. And we got her into the bed, and she ended up sleeping. So we took our luggage, and we went down to the other room, which was probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 rooms down the hall. We got a new room, and we had a nice quiet evening for the rest of the evening. And the funny part is I woke up the next day, and my wife called me on the phone, and she was like, she was like so confused as to what happened. She didn't know what happened to the toilet. She thought we had abandoned her. She thought we had left her in Washington, and that we had simply left. And she was yelling at me because we had left her. I mean, that's how crazy it had gotten. She had no memory of the night before, didn't understand what had happened, and could not understand why what we had abandoned her. And unfortunately, as crazy as all this was just another day in the life of this vacation, this particular month that we ended up staying in New York while my mother was slowly dying. And it was a very difficult time. I'm going to do a part two, maybe even a part three, to continue this story. And again, this is not to disparage my wife. These stories are designed to help other families understand what it is to live with an alcoholic, and for alcoholics to realize what they do to the people in their life. And I really hope that makes sense. And again, I go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we also have the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. Please join that. Great for for alcoholics and for family members. It's a very good support group. And again, when you're ready to work with me, I have the coaching program. Again, link is in the bio. Set up a breakthrough call. The call is free. The course definitely is not. I want to find out a deep dive into what's going on with you and your family. And I've helped thousands of alcoholics, and I want to help you change your life. And I'm looking for people who want to change their lives and their lives of their family.